This is 3C part 1, and we've created the structure of our website, and we're now going to start to look at creating the actual content that goes in each of the pages. So the home page is fairly straightforward. It tells us the college name and email address. We've already got the college name on there, but I think we ought to be just safe. You know, if it was in a real coursework and the examiners were looking for it to be on the actual page as well, then there's no harm in putting it again. So Lamplighters College, okay, and then our email address. There we go. An introductory message from the principal. So that can be anything. So I'll just write introductory message is going here. And I suppose it ought to be signed by him, Richard Mycroft, principal. And then we need to put in a scanned image of the principal's signature. So I've got here the signature. I've just called it Richard Mycroft. It's not showing at the moment in here, but if I click on there and then again, we've now got it. And all we need to do is drag that image onto the web page. So here we go, drag that across, put it in this position, and there's the signature. I think I'll just drop it down one more space. Now it's got a white background on the blue. I could have set it as a transparent background, but we've not been asked to do that, so I'm not going to worry about that in any way, shape or form. There's no point creating extra extra work for myself. So that's the home page done. We've completed all that. Term dates, so if we go to the term dates page, just find some term dates on the web, or just make them up. Key thing here though is, rather than copying and pasting, if you paste, you're going to get all the formatting that comes from the web. So just go, find Notepad, and then paste it into Notepad, and that will get rid of all the formatting. Then you can copy from Notepad and paste into here. But I'm not going to spend time looking at that. We're going to focus now on looking at the brochure request page. Oh, look at that. I've done it on the wrong, done all of this on the wrong page. So that's easy enough. We'll just cut it out, put it on the correct home page. Okay, save that, and then we can go back to our brochure page and put our stuff in here. So let's have a look at what it says. The brochure should have a form that will let potential students request a copy of the college's brochure, and they'll need to enter these things here, including all of this from a list. There needs to be a submit button that will send it to this address, and a reset button that will clear the contents of the form. So we've got to print evidence of the pages within this website, and then we've got to show annotated evidence of how the requirements of the brochure page were met. So we can actually get some of the marks for the pages in the website without actually having a working form. It's this bit where we get the marks of a working form. So as we go through, I'll show you the things that you don't have to worry about if you're not going to be looking at getting these 2 marks here. But it's not too difficult, so we'll work our way through it as we can. So first thing you should always have with a form is some sort of instructions. So I'm going to put in here, please complete your details below to request a brochure. Now we need to put in our form. So we go to insert form, and we can define the form. Now this is some important stuff that we've got to put in here. The form name isn't overly important. I'll call it brochure request, it just identifies it, but this is the really important bit. Now there's a script in the instructions document that you need to use, and I'm just going to paste it in here. All you've got to do is copy and paste it, and what that does is that will allow you to send an email. You can also use, instead of that, you could use mail to, and then put the email address in, which is contact@lamplighters.info. Of course, you'd want to put your own email address in here if you were going to use that method. It comes out a little bit messy, and we'll see how messy it comes out as we work our way through it. So we'll leave it as that one for now, and then I'll show you how the other one later. And our method will be to post, because we're going to be data onto the web. So we'll click on OK. Here's our form. So we're going to create some space within that form so that we can work within it and add things as we want to. We don't have to use a table, but I'm actually going to use a table for this, because I can then line up the prompts on the left and the text boxes on the right. So I'm going to insert a table. We just need it to be a couple of columns, and then we can put in the things that we need. Now, name should always be separated into forename and surname. You'll learn that in databases. It's called atomicity of data, making sure we've only got one item of data in each field. We've got current owner, so email address comes next. Current place of study, and area of study. Now, our table's moved over a little bit, that's fine. We'll just put it in, and we now need to put the text boxes that are going to go next to this. So for our forename, we just need an ordinary text box. So I'm going to go for an ordinary form field. What are we going to call it? We're going to call it forename. And how long do I want it to be? Well, about 30 characters should do for a forename. So we can do that. We repeat the same for surname. We repeat the same for email address, and the same for current place of study. What you'll find is that the email address needs to be a bit longer than 30. I'd probably go for something around 50. Now, our area of study needs to be a drop-down box, so we're going to choose that option when we actually create it. So if we go to Insert Form, you'll see that there is a selection list. So here's our selection list. What am I going to call it as a name? Well, let's go for study area. This is just so it can be identified, and also so when it sends the email, we know what it actually means. And then we can add our options. So our options are arts, languages, maths, sciences, humanities, and finally technology. Yes, that's our drop-down box created. We're told that we need a submit button that will send the contents. Well, we've set up that mail to, which is where it will send the contents at the moment, but we need our button. So if we go to form and a form field, you'll see then that there's an option here for a submit button, and we need to call it submit, but it also needs to have a value of submit, because that is what will appear on the button as the words submit there. So we click on OK, and it says a reset button to clear the content. So let's put a few spaces in, and we'll insert form field, and we'll have a reset button. Right, so now what did I do wrong there? I forgot to change it to a reset button. There we go. That's done. I can delete these extra spaces that we've got now, and the ones at the bottom, and we've now got our form completed. So we can save this, and the key now is to see whether or not this actually works. So you'll notice now these other fields have just been added in, and we'll bring over Google Chrome and have a look. So let's put in some stuff. Current place of study. Let's choose something there and click on submit. So what we did is we set this up so that the form would do what's called a mail to. So it's opened up my email software, and you can see here that it's put the address it's going to. Now I set that up temporarily. We do need to set that up to be contactus@lamplighters.info. So remember, the point of doing this was just so I could test the form works. So do remember to change that back. It doesn't put a subject in, but that's not necessary. It wasn't part of the requirements. And then we can see here it's picked up the field names and it's saying what they all are. Now some of them are quite straightforward to read. That one's a bit difficult to read. These are all okay to read, but we've got all these ampersands in the middle, and it's a bit of a mess. It's okay though. This is acceptable. It's acceptable evidence for OCR. They accept this particular method. And if you are doing this, when it comes to part 2, I would show a screenshot of this email that's being sent, just to show that the form does actually work. So we could send that and it would work. However, there is a better way of actually doing this, and that is to use a script that is designed specifically for sending emails. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the settings of the form. So if we go back to our actual form itself, and we should be able to find the form at some point if we right and click in the right sort of place. It is quite tricky to actually get that, because look, here we go, we've got it now, form properties. If you do it inside the table, you tend not to be able to find it. So instead of it doing this mail to, I'm going to use this method, which is hosted on my website, but the point is it's this PHP script. Now with that PHP script, there's 3 things it requires. One is the email it's going from, another is the email address it's going to, and the other is the subject of the email. So what we're going to do is we'll change our email address here to be named properly, and that is going to be from email, and that is because the script requires it to be called from email, and then it knows where it's sending the email from. We also need to add in 2 other fields, and we do these as hidden fields. So I'm going to insert form, and then we'll go for a form field, change it to be hidden, and we're going to have one that will be called to email, and this will be a case of showing where the email is actually going to go. So you would put your address at your domain, etc., whatever you want it to be. But then when you show your evidence, once you've tested it, remember to change that to contact us at Lamplighters. And then the other hidden field we need is the subject. So if we go again, put another hidden field in, and that will need to be called subject, and we'll put here brochure request. I'll click on OK. So we'll save that, refresh our form here, put in the same data that we've just done. I'll put it in, it's coming from me. Current place of study, home, doesn't matter what we put in here really. And we'll click on submit. And what we should see is that the script works, there you go, and it's telling you that it sent it from that address to that address. Okay, so that set it all up. Right? All we've got to do now is we would see that come through to our own email client, because if you put your own email address in, it would work. And of course we need to change, if we right hand click, find our form properties, we need to change the to email address in this input. We need to change that now to be contact us at lamplighters.info. Having a bit of trouble clicking on this here, there we go. Click on OK, and that's done, and that will be ready for our evidence in part 2. So all you need to do now is print evidence of these pages. So if we just go back and have a look at these, when we go to print them, it depends on the browser that you're using, you need to make sure that the background graphics are being put in, otherwise we lose them. So can you see there the background graphics are gone? We need to make sure our background graphics are in there when we actually print them. So you do that for each of the 3 pages, and then you've got evidence of those printouts. You'll probably need to do a screenshot of this just to show that that is actually there on one of those pages. You could do screenshots of all 3 pages if you want, but just show a screenshot of one of them, because this doesn't turn out on a printout. So at least make sure you've got a screenshot of one of them showing that that is in your work.